Good morning! It's 9 a.m. I know gay people and an LGBTQ plus Kiki at 9 in the freaking morning. Well, that's why I'm still in bed. Me? I'm FayWhat! And this program was created by Hotspots Happening Out. The FayWhat show is America's first LGBTQ plus morning show, and I'm broadcasting live and also available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. In 2025, our Hotspots magazine celebrates 40 years of documenting the LGBTQ plus experience. It is the largest publication of its kind in Florida and one of the oldest in America. Happening Out Television Network's Queer News Tonight is celebrating 5 years with 10,000 television stories and more than 10 million views in 2024. Hotspots Happening Out will produce the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. The gigantic Nightglow Parade on the famous Wilton Drive expects more than 60,000 to attend. Hotspots Happening Out will produce the summer's Red Hot Pride Fete on August 9th. Hotspots Happening Out will also produce Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. In the same model of PBS and NPR, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization whose mission is to educate and serve the LGBTQ plus community. It is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Happy Women's History Month! So we have lots of fun things to talk about. So come on, let's go!
Rainbows, gay boys, hashtag that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl. Pride-filled, tea-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too. If you find a girl to love, only one girl to love, then she'll be that girl too. That girl.
It's time for the big interview. At the FayWhat Show, we want to introduce you to interesting people who are important to our LGBTQ plus community. This morning, I present to you an interview with one such influential queer trailblazer. He's Tommy J. Morell. Tommy is the CEO of 3T Fitness Lifestyle. Tommy's a 46-year-old trans man, trauma-informed personal trainer, wellness coach, advocate, bodybuilder, and so much more. Tommy, welcome to the FayWhat Show.
Thank you for having me.
Kiss me, you fool. Mwah! Thank you so much. So Tom, I invited you on the show to talk about 3T Fitness because I was so excited when I heard about it, So let's begin with, what is a trauma-informed personal trainer that you are?
Well, trauma-informed fitness just basically means I take in the entire person, right? It's more like holistic training. We take in, your background, your traumas, anxiety, your stress levels, not just like, okay, what's your goal and how do we get there, but who you are as a person as well.
Wow. Okay. So are people given like a sheet or something to sign to fill out with all this information? Like, how about if at the beginning when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I have a life fitness goal, right? But I also have a history and I have a past and I've dealt with anxiety and stuff like that. Like, how do you get them to fill this out legitimately and give you all that information from the beginning?
I am a slickster.
You're a slickster?
So, I usually just start talking to them about normal stuff. Like, hey, so what are your goals? What have you tried in the past? And then I get down to your lifestyle, so what are your stressors and things of that nature. And as we go through the training, that's when people start opening up.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I try not to be so direct, but sometimes eventually when you gain someone's trust, then they start opening up to you. And they're like, man, I don't really feel that well today. I'm like, what do you mean you don't feel well? It's such a broad thing, why don't you feel well? I'll have a stressful day at work. Why are you stressed out at work? And then eventually they start opening up to me. Sometimes people are very, very upfront at the beginning and be like, well, I have depression, I have anxiety, or I have a boyfriend that he's a jerk, and he's an alcoholic and stuff like that. So it depends, or someone tells me they have PTSD. Then I really have to not only get my training down with them, but safety is a big issue. And I know to train them closest to the door, because then they want an escape path. They're like, okay, they feel safer.
They feel safer if they're by the door, for
Precisely,
example.
Exactly. And someone who may not want to be in a loud space because that might trigger an adverse reaction. But for the most part, I try to make it feel like it's just a normal fitness routine. with a tad bit more awareness.
Okay. And you named it 3T Fitness.
Yes.
Right? What are the three? Are there 3Ts?
Mm-hmm. There are
Okay.
3 tiers.
All right.
So I actually named it after the 3 motor, what's it? The 3, I guess, pathways to motor learning.
Okay.
Right? So that's what it was named. But then it's also just like we are mind, body, and soul. So the first pathway is cognitive. When you have the idea or you want to do something, you want to do a squat, you have to think about what you're going to do first. Then you practice it, because a couple times after squatting, you're not going to know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
And then once you practice it enough times, it becomes automatic. When you walk, you don't have to think like right foot, left foot. You've been doing it since you were a baby. But when you first learn how to walk and you're a toddler, yeah, you have to think right foot, left foot. How do I get my balance? And once your muscles know how to fire, it becomes automatic. Same thing with fitness and lifestyle. At first, you gotta think, okay, what do I have to eat? And what exercise do I have to do? And what time is everything? After a while, it's like, no, I know how to squat. I know how to bench. I know exactly what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I've been eating the same breakfast or the same formula for breakfast for years now. Like, you don't have to tell a person they had to do a crunch. They know how to do the crunch.
Yeah.
So it becomes automatic.
But how about for people that have never, okay, like I can't do a squat, okay? I don't want to hear it. I can't. After we do the interview, I will show you I can't do a squat, okay? I'm also married to someone who lives and dies by CrossFit. You know what I mean? So she wakes up to squats, right?
Yeah, precisely.
You know what I mean? So there's also people like on a different level that have fitness goals, right?
Precisely.
Want to get better. Like, there are things in all our food. There's a lot of stressors that we're all surrounded with that also doesn't help people lose weight and stay healthy. You know what I mean? But then you're putting all these things together,
Precisely.
plus histories of trauma, histories of marginalization, LGBTQ folks, I don't know anybody who's not marginalized or doesn't have some kind of childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Do you encounter that?
Yeah, just simplify it.
Simplify it.
With a squat, just basically sitting up and down. You just tell them to sit on the chair and get up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as far as the marginalization part, it's just the fact that, like, if I put 3 trans men in the same room together, now they don't feel so marginalized, right? Or if they come to me and I'm that one person where they can say, like, hey, I have this particular problem that's just specific to trans men. I'm like, well, I understand that, Or I have a couple of clients who are cisgender, right? But they have anxiety, and I know exactly how that feels. It's like, and then sometimes the anxiety is unknown. So, for example, I had a client, and I've had him for like a few years now. When he first started training with me, he was anxietied up. He was not taking any medication, not going to therapy, had a very antisocial experience in a very bad relationship, friendship-wise and girlfriend-wise.
Wow.
So we just started kind of like, okay, dude, how's your day going? And like, okay, so where are we feeling the stress at? We're feeling it in our chest. Okay, we're going to do a couple of chest things. Next thing you know, it's like, hey, maybe you need to see someone just besides myself. Like, you ever thought about going to therapy? No. I was like, I think you should.
Wow. And coming from you is different than coming from a doctor or a PCP or something like that.
Exactly.
I mean, you're trained in the trauma, and being that guide, but also, like he said, if you need a little bit extra help, right? Like, you can't go work out if you can't leave the house, right? Like, for example, right? Like if you're anxiety driven, you're not going to go work out. You know what I mean? And at 3T, you are spotlighting and helping all those components come together to help you. Exactly. So let's talk about Be Fair counseling, right? So 3T is in Be Fair. Explain that to me. So Be Fair counseling is led by the one and only Clifton Fair, who I adore, who was in this bed a couple of weeks ago for our Valentine's Day couples segment. He helped us so much to find out how to make sure that your relationship is Valentine's Day every day, And Clifton is like a big brother to me. I adore that man. He's so freaking smart.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So 3T is in Be Fair Counseling, which is off Commercial?
Yes.
Okay, Commercial Boulevard in Broward County. How did that marriage come to be, and how does that work?
Well, actually, we met at, I think it was some event there. And what the theory, they don't remember the
One
event.
of the many events that me and Tommy have to go to. Yeah.
But what caught me was that, like, I had my mom at the event, and I had to go park the car. I left my mom in the front. And Clifton was actually, like, there, and he, like, guided my mom to where she had to sit. And how he treated my mother was, like, the first, like, okay, I like this dude. because
Yes. Someone who takes care of your mom or your boo,
Precisely.
right there already's got your heart.
Exactly. Mom is life. And then second, speaking of boo, so he's very good, close friends with my girlfriend, and I was like, I know that I wanted to do trauma-informed training, but I wanted to do it with a counselor. Because there have been many times where I've been in the middle of the session and something happens which I am not equipped for.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes people start crying and like just some movement that we did release something. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, what would it be like if we had a therapist and the trainer in the same room trying to enhance this person's personal training, and not only that, but like their experience.
Yeah.
Right? And then
I've never even heard about that before. That makes so much sense. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, then we have a men's mental health crisis, right? So in the year 2022, it had like, I think it was 45,000, some crazy number like that, of men who had either committed or tried to commit suicide.
Nice. Wow. Crazy.
Then you have the other factor that in the trans community, trans men also need mental health. And I was like, we have so many things that we could try to like attack at one point. Let's get together and do this. So then we created Strong.
Okay.
Which is strength through optimism, nurturing growth. I have to always think about it. But it's our response to the men's mental health crisis, the fact that queer men need a space to be in that's safe, right? That they can be who they want to be without having to get the memories of, oh, that jock that beat me up, or whatever it is that they go back to when it comes to fitness.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I love Be Fair Counseling. I think that 3T, it makes so much sense. 3T Lifestyle, right, is how it's named.
Yeah.
One of the things that like, I'm in AA, you guys know that. Tommy's in recovery as well. When, he's been through a lot of tough things in his life also. Like, I think that like, in my early days of getting sober, I couldn't talk to anybody that hadn't been through the same shit. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if it was going to be, I was not ready to speak to a therapist that wasn't also someone in recovery, right? Because in my mind, you didn't walk my shoes. You don't know what I've been through, Now you change this to 3T, where Tommy has been, as a trans black man, has been through many things that a lot of our trans men in our community have been through also, and when we go through something in LGBTQ, we automatically isolate. Nobody has been through what I went through. Yeah. And here's Tommy, like a living specimen of what humans go through, and sharing his story to help others maybe go through it a little easier, right? I mean, like, you've been through some shit, Tommy. I mean, your parents are very religious. Your dad, I believe, was a pastor, right? I want to touch on, and I want to be very sensitive to you and what you went through, but you went through some trauma yourself with, what was it named? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Transitioning.
No, but that also, they were trying to
conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy. Thank you. I couldn't freaking think of conversion therapy because it's disgusting. Yeah. Anyway, you had to go through conversion therapy as a younger Tommy. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So imagine that you're a queer, black Latino in a 2,000 member church. Right, and you're really fighting with your sexuality and your sexual, like, you're just fighting. Period. You're just, by the time that moment came, I had already like attempted suicide twice. Oh, right. So God, Tommy. I was really, and it was funny because like if you see me in person, you'd be like, nothing's wrong.
Right? Yeah. Look at this tough dude. Nothing could ever be wrong with him.
Exactly. So behind closed doors, I was really going through it, and so. I actually told my dad, I was like, listen, there's these two people that came to our church, and they're like, we can fix you. So I was like, oh, if you can fix me, then I want to be fixed.
You were okay with getting fixed?
Yeah, I was okay.
For your parents or for you?
For everything.
Okay.
For everything. Mom, dad, like, because I also took on the pressure of like, oh, you're the pastor's kid.
You're the pastor's kid. Yes.
People are looking at you and judging your dad, and I'm an only child. So like mom and dad were everything. So I went, and I think like the first couple of weeks I was there, I was like, Dad, like I think I made a mistake, and my dad was like, well, you have to finish it. He's like, you started, you have to finish it.
How long was it?
That was 6 months in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
6 months in Puerto Rico, and then like we did like 2 weeks in Costa Rica, and then like 5 weeks in Nicaragua. And every time I would call my mom and my dad would tell me the same thing: you have to finish it. So like hindsight's 2020. When I spoke to I came back, right? and they outed me to my church, so I couldn't go back to church. And then
Like while you were gone, they outed you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I got really, really angry. Everybody, like, there was like, and then I just left. And when I left was when I started like heavily going into drugs and drinking, and just kind of like downward spiral. That was like, you know, the first year or two of like your partying is always like nice, and then after that it was like just making stupid decision after stupid decision, bad relationships, like everything that could have happened to me happened.
You were the magnet to shit during that time.
Precisely. You know, and then after I got out of that, when I started to transition, things started to change. You know, the transitioning was probably like the first saving grace. You know, but within my transition, I did a couple of things that most people don't know about. Like, I went and took a communications course at the Yes Institute so I can communicate with my parents, because I was like, I want to keep my family.
Wow.
And so that was the first thing. And then after like maybe a few years into my transition, I was like, there's something still missing. Something still. And then like I woke up one day, I got really drunk, like super drunk, and didn't know where my car was at. And I was like, okay, you have a problem, kid. Like, this is not normal. Yeah. So after I started getting sober, then everything just like got like that was it. The sobriety and transitioning were the two catalysts to a better life. Right. So I got sober. After I got sober, all the money I stopped partying with, I got my top surgery, and then that was just like one thing after another. Graduated, got my bachelor's, you know, started my own company, blase. So at the end of it, my dad had so much to be proud of. Right. My mom had so much to be proud of, that like maybe 1 year before my dad's death, my dad, like, not only did I came out, my dad outed me as he outed himself. Like, he claimed me in front of everybody on Facebook. Wow. Okay.
As his son.
Yeah, as his son. It took years into my transition. This was not like a thing, you know, and I didn't really care whether he did or not, you know. But he did. And I was like, wow. You know, I'm glad he did too, because, you know, that was like I said, like a year later is when my pops passed, you know.
What a wonderful gift to leave you with, right? I mean, that legacy that, you know, his career was a pastor. His career was to lead folks, right? And to inspire folks. And then he has a son he has a daughter who is really a son, and had to deal with that. And like you said, he outed you again in a wonderful way, and outed himself like when he was ready to out himself.
Exactly.
You know? Okay, so you touched on transitioning, and I know that transitioning isn't easy for anyone. You know, if you've had an easy transition, God bless you. You know, what do you say to folks that say that many trans men transition to men and then pass, so they kind of leave the community and stop fighting?
I don't think we'd leave. I think we just can't be seen, but we're there. You know, but we're there.
Okay, that's a better way to say it.
Yeah, we're there.
But do you see where I'm coming from?
Oh, for sure. And because there was a part of me who was like, man, I was living my life as a ghost, right? Because like I was there, but you couldn't see me.
Yeah.
So I do have the privilege to pick, choose, and when I want to come out. I do have that privilege, and I use it to the
you know, understand that most of my trans sisters don't have that luxury.
Precisely. You know. But I also think that I use my privilege to change hearts and minds. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's not something that I wanted. It's something that I just kind of like had, but I use it to change hearts and minds, and also to like let people know the trans community is vast and we look very different. Yeah. Right? Some people in the trans community are non-binary. Some people in the trans community are very obviously trans, and they like it that way. And they shouldn't be like held bad because, you know, someone decides to transition a little differently.
But, or looks a little differently or whatever. They shouldn't be held like they're leaving our community. You know, it's just something that people do speak about.
Precisely. You know? But I will go to bat for my trans women, so don't mess.
You wouldn't. Listen, no. But Tommy is a gentleman all the way around. Okay, yes, he goes to bat for his trans women in his life, but he also goes to bat for anybody. You know what I mean? I have seen him protect a skinny little twink to protecting me from people. You know what I mean? This is who Tommy is, you know? You've always been like that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. You were in a documentary, right, called My Trans Life.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. When was that, and how was it to put your stuff on blast right there for everybody to see?
Okay, so I'm glad that I get to clear the air about that because
Please.
we actually did that documentary was post one of my bodybuilding shows, and they had me and my dad, and there was this cool portion they could have went with like how my dad accepted me, and they didn't. They went with this whole trying to make it look like a sap that I went to bodybuild for this girl I think that I was dating at the time that I hadn't even dated for 6 months,
Wow.
and I told them like this is a fresh relationship.
Yeah,
but
we
they
just
went with
started.
it, you know. They went with it, but so that's what it came out to. So I'm much more appreciative of the documentary of Man Made.
Okay.
Because,
Look that up.
Yeah, please. That was more me. You know, my trans life was cool, but I didn't like the way they made it seem like, oh, he's doing this for the love of a woman.
Yeah.
Do nothing for the love of a woman.
No, that's not how you roll.
No.
So, and when was Man Made?
Man Made was I was the same year.
Oh, okay.
And it was
Oh,
actually,
wow.
yeah, so it's on Amazon actually. If you put like Man Made about like trans guy bodybuilders,
Yes.
it's on Amazon. It's completely trans led, and I think it's done by Cooper, T Cooper. That's his name. The letter T and Cooper, and he's I think he also works for HBO.
And it was a much better rendition
Yeah.
of like it was more true to life to what you were going through.
Precisely.
So Tommy, you know, in your spare time, which I don't know when the hell he has spare time, you are also, you know, you're a trans advocate, you know, and you've got an incredible girlfriend who is one of my best friends, Miss Adriana Tender. You know, you're you're an advocate in your own right? Is that how you met Adriana? Was through advocacy?
I wouldn't say yeah, because she asked me to speak at Tidor.
Is that really how it happened? I didn't ask her. I promise. You know what I mean? Okay.
She asked me to speak to Tidor, and I was actually interested in someone else at the time. And
you know she's gonna see this, right? Oh, okay. All right.
And it just wasn't working out. And you know, we and her kept like talking, and I was like, wow, it's so easy to talk to her. You know, that's the first thing I noticed. And then second of all, I was like, you know, she keeps telling me to come train her. I just like one day I was like, that's what she's talking about. Like, dude, like, okay, so
she's been trying to hit on you for weeks, and you haven't been able to get it.
Didn't get it at all. So I decided that I was going to take her on a date, and then she's like, in pure Adriana fashion, she shows up like half hour late, right?
Well, that's actually early for her.
Exactly. So she shows up, and I'm like, man, I am sorely underdressed. Like she came like in this my blue dress, her hair was like this bob, and was like,
hello.
Wow. Yeah. You know, and we shut down the restaurant. We ended up talking for like 3 hours. Yeah. And so one of our best traits is I feel like our communication is like best. Like the best I've ever had in any relationship.
Wow.
And we really took our time dating. We didn't do the whole like, oh, we're gonna date for a week and then like no, I think I dated her for like almost 6 months before I asked her to be my girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were just hanging out at her house. You know, I got to know the dog, and like, cause I'm at that age where I'd rather take my time.
No, of course,
You know?
because at this age you kind of know what you don't want at this point, right?
Precisely.
And you're getting all the flags of all the good stuff, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and think like, you know, you also don't want to put that pressure on the other person. You know what I mean? Like Adriana is very much like me, where it's like, I want all your attention, but I want you to leave me alone, right?
Yes.
All at the same time.
Yes.
Man, you've got to figure that out.
But it works out because one of the first things was I promise you, this is gonna sound, babe, I'm sorry if it sounds weird, but like when she was telling me all the stuff she was doing, I was like, perfect. I love the fact that you're so busy because that makes me be able to be busy on my own business.
Exactly.
And I like to work out sometimes twice a day, and I'm with clients and stuff like that. So it never clashes. It never feels like I can't do my business and have a girlfriend at the same time.
Yep. And it's one of those things that, like, you know, you've got to be able to. I honestly believe that Tommy and Adriana are one of the most incredible power couples that we have in our community, right? We don't have a lot of couples that both do stuff for our community, right? And these folks do, you know, they eat, sleep, shit our community. It's the truth, you know? It's like, it's rare. Like me and Adriana will talk, you know, a couple times a week, but Sunday it's like, all right, what are you doing this week? What are you doing this week? Let's try to support each other, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if she doesn't have somewhere to go, which is almost never, oh, I want to go support Tommy doing this, you know? And Tommy, if he doesn't have something going on, which is almost never, I'm going to go support Adriana in the same, you know? Yeah. You know, it's not news to anybody who's in the White House right now, right? You know? Has that given you and Adriana like a fire in your ass to be even more of an advocacy couple? More of an activist couple, more of a couple that needs to be doing what they're doing.
For sure. Yes, because we need it. And it's a necessity on two fronts though. It's a necessity to advocate and but it's also a necessity to alleviate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing I've noticed in watching the news and watching stuff like that is there's a lot of alarms going off, but not every alarm needs to be paid attention to. So you have to be really calculated where you place the alarm, where you place your anxiety, how much anxiety are you going to be allowed to feel, right? Because one thing that we do as a community, we love to catastrophize,
Oh my
and
God.
then we freeze.
Yeah. We gloom and doom, and then we freeze like the cockroach in the kitchen when you
Precisely.
turn on the light.
Exactly. So I'm really, and she does this to me too, like stay out of your fight or flight mode because you can't make good decisions.
Yeah.
I'll call her and be like, what the, at first couple of weeks, I was like, and she was like, babe, like, come on now. We've been here before. We know exactly what to do. Like, we're going to be okay. And then she was like, the other day I was like, hey, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, me and you, we're good. We're good. We're gonna be fine. You know, everything's going to be okay. We have the playbook. The difference is now, the difference between the older generation and the newer generation has the playbook from the older generation. And all along, we play that playbook, we're going to be just fine. And we got to continue to tell ourselves that because they want us to leave. They want us to get like all angsty and that's the way that they...
Or give up because
Yeah.
because so much is being thrown at us. Like
Yeah.
you're saying, you know what I mean? They're throwing so much at us that you get fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or
Yeah.
you get overwhelmed where it's like, what can I do? I can't do anything. I'm just a speck.
Yeah.
You know, and that's so far from the truth, right? I mean, there are so many organizations that you could be helping out with, you know, volunteer or whatever it is, whatever, you know, time, talent, or tithing. If you got money to give an organization, do that, you know, whatever it is.
Exactly.
I want to talk a little bit more about 3T real quick to end our interview, right? Because I want to talk about the trauma-informed men's group, right? Was one of the men's groups that we were talking about initially, right?
Yeah.
And that group, the trauma-informed men's group, that is for trans men, cis men, you identify as male, mask, whatever it is,
Precisely.
you are welcome.
Yes, exactly. I need it to be mixed. I need it to be mixed. I want it to be mixed because I want people to hear each other's stories.
Yes.
Because I feel like if you can hear each other's stories, you can relate. We have to bring our narrative back.
100%. And how can someone sign up for that? If someone's watching right now and going, do I need to be part of this, you know, trauma-informed men's group? I mean, like, you know, for the most part, like I said, most of us have some kind of trauma. So if you're asking yourself that, you probably should be, right? Let's just be there. You know what I mean? How would somebody sign up for that?
They would have to call Be Fair Counseling.
Okay, Be Fair Counseling.
Yeah, you call them and they'll take you to like a vetting. He wants to talk to you and, you know, ask you a couple questions and see if you're a good fit for the group, and then you're in.
Perfect. So Be Fair Counseling is BE and Fair FEHR. Okay, so it's Be Fair Counseling. All right. So that's Trauma Informed Men's Group. Okay, how about Transcendence Supports Group?
Okay, so every third Friday of the month, I do run a support group for trans adults and their allies. And that you can go to Transcendent Support Group MIA.com and go to the Contact Us. Or you can actually just like reach me at the 3T Fitness Lifestyle and just say, hey, I want to be a part of the group.
Okay.
And again, I vet people a lot because I need to keep my group protected.
Of course.
But if you let me know that you're an ally and how you got to know me, I know that you're okay, and then you can join the group.
All right. So this is a group in Miami, and then you also have a group in Fort Lauderdale. So again, folks, I mean, you're covered. All your bases are covered, one or the other. If you feel some kind of need that you might want to be part of this group, right? You're going to be helping others at the same time by sharing your
The
stories.
support group is actually, it's through Zoom. So you can come into person or come just hybrid.
Even better.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually do take people from out of town. So there's people all the way from Columbus, Ohio, Washington, D.C., Miami. Like, as long as you're a trans person or trans ally and you feel like you need to be not only supported, it's an empowerment group. So one cool thing about my group, and you can ask anyone that goes, is that people actually feel better coming out than they came in.
Oh, and that's the thing, okay? You're never going to walk out of one of these groups with less than what you came in.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
You know, fellowship is so key, right? Getting together in a group and hearing that other people feel the same way that you do, it's like so refreshing. It's so helpful. It's healing, right? You know, I always say that, like, for my AA, My drunkenness, my alcoholism got me in the door, but the fellowship is what kept me there.
Precisely.
I would have never ever stayed sober if it wasn't for those crazy ass people in those rooms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those crazy ass people are crazy like you, and I mean crazy in a nice way. Please don't take that personal. You know what I mean? People that have been through things.
Exactly.
We've been through stuff. You know, our community has been through more things than the average Joe. Sometimes you really can't have these conversations with your next door neighbor. You know what I mean? Who's still on the fence trying to see, I just didn't vote. I just didn't vote this year because I didn't know which way to go. Those people, you can't talk to those people.
No.
Tommy, any advice for people who want to get healthy in mind, body, and spirit and just think that they can't do it? They did the resolution in January. Here we are in March. You know what I mean? I can't get out of bed. I'm too fat. I don't want to get on those injections. What do you say to this person?
It's never too late to restart. Every day is a new day.
I love that.
Never too late to restart. And how do you start? You just take the first step. And the first step doesn't have to be a big step. It could be a small step. Just start. You start some momentum. Make it maybe like a 5-minute, 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing. Fitness is a lifestyle. And it can go just about any way you want to. It is a big conglomerate of different things you're doing every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go for a walk. Maybe don't eat as much as you used to. Drink a tad bit more water. Decide you're going to sleep a half an hour, maybe 15 minutes more. Go meditate for 2 minutes. But start. Eventually, once you start, there's that positive affirmation. Like, hey, I started. I did 2 minutes. Oh my God, that's cool. Let's see if I can do 3. Oh, cool. I could. If you do that for 60 days, you'll do that for an hour.
And that's amazing. But you see, start again. Start over, right? I have a handful of sponsees in AA that I guide through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I love them. They're my babies. But we all have tough times, we all have a bad day. And I tell them sometimes when they're just, I can't anymore. I'm thinking about drinking. I can't. I go, start all over. Go take a shower and change your clothes. Pretend that, I don't give a shit if it's 6 p.m.
Yeah.
We're starting today over right
Precisely.
now.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to do that.
I restart my day quite often.
Sometimes I change. Like, Faye, did you change your outfit 4 times today? It was one of those days.
Yeah. You restart like, oh my God. Let me go take another shower. Like, don't know. It did happen. I'm just going to restart.
Listen, but sometimes you have to just not to kill people, Tommy. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's, like if you don't get this under control, at least for me, for this alcoholic, right? It prevents homicide and suicide, okay? For me to get this in order.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I tell like a lot of my friends, like, suffering is optional. You don't have to suffer, and you don't have to suffer alone, you know? I mean, Be Fair Counseling, go check them out online. Go give them a call. How about that? Okay, talk to someone at the office and start your process, right?
Yes, but do it today.
But do it today, all right? So thank you, Tommy M. Thank you, Tommy Morell. Thank you, Tommy. I love you so much. Thank you for being in bed with me. It really means a lot to me that you...
Don't tell her you had it, though.
Yeah, she already knows. Look into that camera and give them your best FayWhat. FayWhat!
FayWhat!
Yes, to know more about 3T Fitness Lifestyle, follow Tommy on social media under Tommy _J Morell or on his website, 3tfitnesslifestyle.com. Right?
Yes.
Right. All right, we'll be right back. Now let's kiki about what's going on in the LGBTQ plus community. I have a sidekick joining me in bed for our segment called Gay Boys Sleep Late. I love this guy. This morning, I'm joined by my gay guy pal, Von Biggs. He's a community outreach coordinator at Holy Cross Health, a vice chair of the Ryan White Part A Planning Council, and a founding board member of Trans Ed. Follow Von and everything he is doing in between espresso martinis on Facebook at Von Biggs and on IG at Von Biggs Artist. Hi Von, welcome. Welcome.
Hey,
I'm so happy to have
back.
you here.
Yes, it's awesome to be
Thank
back
you so
here.
much for my calf can.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling good. I'm loving
We need to go to the
this.
pool with a martini after this.
I love this. Well, we totally could. So, we're going to discuss some of the fun things that we're doing in our segment Out and About. This weekend was a very busy weekend, Von. There was so much stuff going on, and Saturday was the big Stonewall Gala over at the venue, and
Yes.
I heard it was a wonderful success.
It was great. The
Most of our
pictures-
friends were there,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. absolutely.
All of our friends were
But
there.
me, I wasn't. But,
Or me.
Yeah.
Right?
I was dead. I was tired.
No, baby, but you had a long week.
Yeah.
You know, he was out traveling the world, learning more about, you know, HIV and AIDS. Like he doesn't know enough about it, right? And just trying to do better in our world. And then he comes back from a long week over in Pennsylvania to like jump right back into work this weekend.
Yeah, Sunshine Cathedral.
You were here, right?
Yeah, we partnered with Sunshine Cathedral, and we had 85 people came through that got tested for HIV and STIs, along
Wow.
with picking up food and talking about things that they're needing in the community. So it's the
I love
second
that.
event we've done with them, and we'll continue to do more.
I love that.
It's needed.
You make sure that you follow Holy Cross Health, and you also follow Sunshine Cathedral, because they're collaborating on these incredible events. This is the second one. You know, it was March 1st, so it was a couple days ago, right? And they had a farmers market where they were giving out free food to people in need. You were also making sure that people got tested. You know, they're alternating different months and bringing a vet over for people that need help with their pets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're also helping spaying and neutering. I mean, so much. So, you know, and speaking of pets, over the weekend, I was at Life in the Doghouse movie screening
right, yes.
over at Savor Cinema. That was a lot of fun. Danny and Ron came down from Wellington, and we did a question and answer after. And the movie is incredible. If you can watch Life in the Doghouse on any of your streaming lines, please do so. I mean, I cried through the whole thing. If you're a pet lover, you're just gonna cry. It is what it is, you know. But they help so many pets in need. Up till now, Danny and Ron's Rescue have saved over 14,000 pets in need. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing what they do over there. And I love them for coming down for that. And thank you, Pride Fort Lauderdale, for assisting with that event. There was also Pink Nail Society that happened last week as well. Yeah. I know you couldn't go because you were busy, but Vaughn, I'm just telling you that there was a lot of stuff going on. Stephen Tendridge, congratulations on they raised about 14 grand, which is beautiful for prostate cancer awareness. I mean, you know what I love about Vaughn is that, yes, he works for Holy Cross, and yes, you know, they put on, they collaborate with a lot of nonprofits to put on all these incredible events. They're sponsors of big events like Rock the Block, etc. But they're always there to help another nonprofit, to help another healthcare, you know, organization, anything like that, you know. So you're always the first one to say like, hey, if I can't go, I'm going to help promote, or I'm going to make sure that somebody goes.
We'll have somebody there, right?
So, but it was an incredible event as well. So,
and I had an outfit ready for that one too.
Did you?
I did. It was pink. Are you kidding?
Ugh.
Right.
You have to understand, Vaughn loves a theme, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's always something going on here in South Florida. And this is an important conversation for our LGBTQ community, so you know what's going on. Help us tell these important stories by liking and subscribing to The FayWhat Show. Let's kiki on this interesting story. So Reddit's Ask Gay Bros thread is spilling the tea on how gay gym goers are scoring love or lust between sets at the gym. One user asked, quote, "How the hell are you picking up guys at the gym?" end quote. And the responses are packed with tips. From eye contact being the #1 way to gauge interest, to more playful suggestions like wide squat stance and grab low. It's clear that flirting at the gym takes fitness and finesse, okay? Well, you know what? It doesn't take fitness, it takes finesse, all right? So one user recommended, quote, "Start saying hello, practice compliments, and build confidence over time." The consensus is that it's all about the reps, whether lifting weights or striking up a conversation. So how to get gay love or lust at the gym? Reddit knows it all. What are we all talking about? What do you think about the tips when it comes to picking up?
My favorite is downward dog in yoga.
Right there in the middle of peak fitness. Vaughn is going into downward dog in the middle of the weight area, right? Like when no one is doing the downward dog, that's where you are.
When because I don't work out in the gym like I should, and especially since I relocated down here, but I used to do twice a day.
Wow,
I don't see how they had time. Because when you go and you have like an agenda, like in the mornings I would go and do cardio, and at the night that I'd work with a personal trainer. So we'd be doing weights. I didn't have time to think about that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do these guys have time?
Well, okay, but there's a difference, okay? So the story is they're going to the gym to cruise.
Well, okay.
You know what I mean? And mind you, okay, I'm not going to call the person out, right? But I know somebody, right, who goes to the gym twice, right? And the first time in the morning is his workout,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
The one at night is for something else.
Oh, well, okay. Listen, we've done enough stories on gyms and saunas, right?
Well, right, yeah. In West Hollywood, they had to put a sign up on the doors of the gym locker saying, "Please don't have sex in here anymore.
Right.
No more sex in the sauna." You know, and then there was like a user of the app that said, "That's why I even bought the
membership.
1-year agreement membership was because you allowed that in the bathroom." You know what I mean? So. I mean, again, the reality is that gay boys can pick up somebody anywhere. Okay, I have seen it at Java Joe's,
the parking lots,
at the parking lots, at Home Depot that people used to say was the lesbian place. It is not.
Right.
It is the gay boy place.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I think you can pick up boys anywhere, and I think compliments are the best way
Absolutely.
to start. You know what I mean? Like, or like, if you're a gym rat, you can like nice form or something like that,
Yes.
right? Like when you're walking by, so it's not like hot ass Poppy,
Right.
but it's more like great form, and then
Right.
the person will go, oh wow.
And for
look
those
at
who
him.
are introverted, it's a great way to start to become more extroverted. You know, they do have those that they don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But just to say hello or just acknowledge or to help, offer to, help spot, which could be interesting in itself.
Ooh,
but, right?
I love that.
Right.
Let me assist you
Right.
by spotting you. I don't know. It could totally work. This is an important conversation for our LGBTQ plus community. Help us tell these important stories by liking and subscribing to The FayWhat Show. Let's Kiki on this interesting story. In a heart-wrenching moment at the inaugural Metro Pride Awards, the late Vivienne was posthumously awarded the Icon Award. The Drag Race UK star's father, Lee Williams, and sister took to the stage to accept the accolade on behalf of the beloved drag icon. Tearfully, Lee expressed gratitude for the outpouring of love, saying, quote, "James loved being part of the entertainment world. Thank you so much for your huge love and support," end quote. The Vivienne, who won Drag Race UK in 2019, tragically passed on January 5th, 2024, at age 32. Their death was ruled an unnatural cause, with an investigation ongoing. Following the tribute, 5 Drag Race UK queens performed a heartfelt routine to honor the Vivienne's legacy. Additionally, the Vivienne's publicist, Simone Jones, received the LGBT plus Trailblazer Award. The Vivienne was honored at the Metro Pride Awards. What are we all talking about? I'm still not over the fact that
No,
she's passed,
I know.
right? Like, I still kind of don't believe it, right?
I think about her because I didn't really know who she was until that season, and it was just like there was just something about her, the presence
Yes.
of her on camera. It was awesome to watch, and I thought
She's going to make
it's
it.
and way too young.
Way too young. Way too
Yeah.
young, 32. And
Yeah.
I hate to be that person, right? To have to explain what you're probably thinking about already, right? Like, they have not released why she died, right? We have dealt with a lot of untimely deaths here in South Florida from people that we know and love. And a lot of them have been attributed to unfortunate drug use. Fentanyl is almost in everything down here in South Florida, and it's very, very scary how many people it has taken. Nobody at 32 years old just dies, right? Unless you had some kind of heart condition that you dealt with your whole life.
Or didn't even know you had it.
Or didn't even know you had, right? Where that could have been great topics of conversation on Drag Race if that was the case.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I, hate to say the possibilities of her not being with us anymore could be attributed to drug use, could be, right? Hopefully they will let us know what they have found out. Right. And if that was the case, hopefully they use her legacy and her talent to help others, to show others that there's help, that maybe, you don't have to take that hit, or that you don't know what could happen to you after that hit. Someone with so much life still left.
Yeah. And beauty.
And beauty and fucking talent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to curse, but like it irks me, Vaughn, when we lose these people so early, when they had so much more to give for our community.
That way beyond what we could have seen.
Yeah.
And you think about it, it's a matter, and what I know that they haven't come out with the release of anything, but one thing I've learned about the UK is loose lips don't happen over there. and and regarding the police, they don't let information out like apparently we do here
No, okay.
in the States. So sometimes it does take longer
Okay.
from what I have seen
Okay.
in
Okay.
dealing with things. And they want to make sure all their T's are dotted and I's are crossed. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think they've done that because of who they've dealt with, the royal family all these years and everything that goes on there. They're going to check everything before they say anything.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and
Yeah.
that makes sense, and once they do, we'll definitely bring you that information as well. The Vivienne will definitely be missed, and this won't be the last tribute to her for sure, and hopefully we find out what happened to her soon, but definitely she will be missed. This is an important conversation for our LGBTQ plus community. Help us tell these important stories by liking and subscribing to the FayWhat Show. Next, we talk about Women's International Month, right? Women's International History Month, and that is March 8th. So imagine a gender equal world. Wouldn't that be nice? A world free of biases, stereotypes, and discrimination. A world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive. A world where difference is valued and celebrated. We can work towards that on Women's History Month and every day. International Women's Day is March 8th, okay? And IWD has been around for over 100 years, as have many of the issues still impacting women's advancement. Since 1911, IWD belongs to all who care about women's equality. So celebrate women's achievements, raise awareness about discrimination, take action to forge gender parity. During the month of March, we give extra attention to all the amazing accomplishments of strong, determined women. Since 1987, the United States has formally recognized March as National Women's History Month. With the new administration, even how we are right now with the current administration, even if they do not acknowledge it and spotlight it, we at the FayWhat Show know the importance and will. Every woman has a story to tell and gifts to share with this incredible world that we live in. Tell all the women in your life that they are important and that they are seen. Happy International Women's Day. And this month, I will spotlight queer women who have made a huge difference. And a lot of them, I want to try to spotlight women who are alive so we can give them their flowers, right? So I'm going to kick off this month with an ode to Miss Robin Roberts. Robin Roberts is an ABC Good Morning America co-anchor. She has been out about her sexuality and her breast cancer diagnosis and treatment. She has used her platform to advocate for early detection and breast self-exam. She is an incredible human, and I celebrate you today on Women's History Month. Vaughn, I'm so happy that you're in bed with me today talking about this, because if anybody loves women, it's you, okay? If it's lesbians, if it's trans women, if it's cisgendered women, you are always surrounded by women aside from Jason. It is Jason and a bunch of women. You are always, and you always feel your happiest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you're around women. So I know that when I said to you, I'm going to make sure to spotlight Women's History Month, it being the first Monday of the month, you're like, hell yeah.
Why not?
Of course, please do.
Yeah. I mean, that comes, I think, from my upbringing. I was very close to all of my grandmothers and my great-grandmothers. I knew my great-grandmothers growing up. So, and all of them imparted so much into me, and I remember I called her my granny in Virginia. It was like, don't ever mistreat a woman. She always looked at, they should always be edified and lifted up. I mean, you think about it, they bring life into the world.
Yes.
I mean, what a gift.
Yes.
Not everybody gets that.
No.
And they should be honored.
We should be.
Yeah.
It should be, and it's Women's History Month, and it's, it's one of those things where a lot of men have been given the pass to be misogynist pieces of shit, right? Because of who's in power right now. And so I respect the men that haven't taken that, that are still true to their mama and grandma, and that still were raised in a certain way to always make sure that a woman in your life was okay.
Right. Yep.
You
should always, it's opening the door. I think chivalry is not dead.
No.
Although people like to think it is, they don't think they need to do it, but
no,
it's true. I mean,
really
respect
shouldn't.
is respect.
Respect is respect, and it doesn't matter if you're LGBTQ or ally or straight. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Again, like you said, women bring life into the world. That should be just loved and admired and tried to be taken care of.
Right.
You know, you said you had a couple of quotes that
I
you
do.
wanted to
Well,
tell me.
one about Robin.
Oh,
That
okay.
was interesting. So
I love
wrote a few
Robin.
down.
And she was also a basketball player, like
Yes.
a great basketball player.
And there were a couple of things I read about her. One was, the problem with her coming out was because of her religion. And after that was when she got a letter from the church stating how they supported her.
Oh my God.
And she thought all these years she kept that
in
burden
and hidden
when it could have been
out.
a celebration, right?
Wow.
So, but on resilience, it says, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door. I had to remind myself of that every day during my treatment.
Wow.
So I just think that for her to say that, and right, because, she did go through that. And it's something that we see a lot of. We talk about breast cancer awareness. I know you've talked about, I've talked about it. I want to go in October, and I want to go get my tatas done.
Yes.
So I'm ready. Let's go. Let's
Yes.
do it as a group. I'm happy for that. But a few other women that have passed on. But
No,
who
but
I
that's
love,
fine, of
Eleanor,
course.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
No one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Ooh, I love that.
All right?
I love it. Okay, but take that in, right?
Right.
Nobody can make you feel less than without you allowing them to make you feel less than.
Right.
Are you getting that? Okay.
Ruth Ginsburg. Are we ready? Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Right?
That's a good
way,
one.
bringing those people along.
Bring
Not just
that.
Your own
Yes,
fight yourself.
yeah,
Don't make it
you're-
your own battle.
Yes, you're fighting, but you don't have to be alone fighting. You could bring others with you.
And this one's still living, which I love. Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah looked amazing at the Oscars,
Yes.
girl. What?
Come on.
Ozempic all the
Yes.
way.
Think like a queen. A queen is not afraid of failure. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness.
I love that.
And then the last one, who is my favorite, I quote in all my emails, my personal emails, is Mother Teresa. Of all of them, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples.
Oh,
So imagine if everybody could cast a stone.
if everyone would cast one stone.
Yeah. So.
Oh, those are beautiful. Those are fantastic. If there's a quote out there that speaks to you, send it over. FayWhat@happeningout.com. We're going to be spotlighting women who have passed, who are living, whatever, who have made some kind of effect on your life, right? It doesn't even have to be someone famous. It could be something that your abuela used to say, right? The reality is that women have impacted every single person on this earth in one way or another.
Just like my favorite lesbian.
Me. That's me. Happy International Women's Month. Enjoy. Tell everybody, tell all the women, okay? That's all the women.
Yes,
That is all the women presenting, all the femme presenting, all the trans women in your life, all the women
Including
in
your
your
mother.
life, including your mom, your grandma, whoever's alive. Okay, because we have a lot of our friends who have lost their parents. So consider yourself lucky if you still have your parents, right? You know, and let them know how important they are, especially if you're a man. Let them know that they raised an intelligent, strong man who still fears God, loves the world, and still wants to encompass what a gentleman can still be.
That's right.
I love that. This is an important conversation for our LGBTQ community. Help us tell these important stories by liking and subscribing to The FayWhat Show. Let me remind you that the Hotspots Happening Out nonprofit travel club is planning an amazing Florida AIDS Walk cruise on November 2nd from Miami. This 3-day cruise is on the gigantic 170,000-ton MSC Seascape and starts at just $199. It supports some of the most important LGBTQ plus nonprofits in South Florida. Special parties, events, and even a 3-day open bar and Wi-Fi package are available for just $68. And that's unlimited cocktails, beer, wine, soda, coffees, and bottled water, and Wi-Fi for just $68 for all 3 days. This is the only cruise like it in 2025. Join us at Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission for the LGBTQ plus community.
Welcome to the newest trip from the nonprofit travel club, Florida AIDS Walk Pride Cruise aboard MSC Seascape, departing November 2nd, 2025. Celebrate pride and unity on this one-of-a-kind 3-day cruise aboard the luxurious MSC Seascape, all starting from just $199. Your journey begins in Miami as you board the stunning MSC Seascape, a $1 billion, 170,000-ton masterpiece of Italian design, offering incredible amenities, exclusive events, and a vibrant community of travelers united by a great cause. The MSC Seascape is a 5-star state-of-the-art new ship. This 170,000 giant ship boasts unique features like the glass-floored Bridge of Sighs, panoramic elevators, and a replica of the Statue of Liberty. The onboard design pays tribute to New York City, featuring Times Square-inspired spaces and a breathtaking LED wall. You will want to sail in the world's best cabin category called MSC Yacht Club. This luxury cruise within a cruise is a private 3-deck top of the ship private club. The Yacht Club includes private reception 24 hours a day, a gourmet private restaurant, a luxury lounge with open bar and food 24 hours a day. Available to just 200 guests. Your yacht club has a private sun deck and private pool. There are so many other features that makes this a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The nonprofit travel club is unique in that we are not a travel agency. We are a nonprofit 501c3 company that uses educational travel to raise funds for the community. With us, you travel for good. And that is what you do on this cruise as you support the Florida AIDS Walk and the beneficiaries that provide support to our community. Our trips are special because they include so much. Onboard activities and exclusive parties at Ocean Cay are all part of your travel package. Not just that, this Pride Cruise also offers you unlimited open bar package with cocktails, beer, wine, sodas, coffees, and bottled water, along with Wi-Fi aboard the ship and on Ocean Cay for just $68. Plus, you get access to over a dozen bars and exclusive beach events. Your open bar package is unique in that it is valid on ship and all day and evening at bars on the private island. Your wonderful Florida AIDS Walk Pride Cruise begins on day 1 as you board MSC Seascape as early as 11 a.m. You enjoy an exclusive open bar cocktail party with Florida AIDS Walk reunion guests. Tonight, you have an exclusive invitation to the Travel Club dance party. There are shows and great dining choices awaiting you. On day 2, you visit what Condé Nast readers say is the world's best cruise line private island. $1 billion was spent to create this magnificent marine reserve. Ocean Cay features incredible beaches and lagoons. When you participate in our exclusive $68 open bar and Wi-Fi package, all services will be available to you at more than a dozen island bars. You will enjoy lunch at the main Ocean Cay Pavilion and more than a dozen food trucks that provide unique food opportunities. Plus, the Florida AIDS Walk Cruise will have several events today. This morning, you will participate in our pavilion and beach party called Seize the Day. It will be the only daytime beach party with a DJ and great beach dance music. Tonight, you are invited to Roar on the Show, where you have bonfires, a DJ, an open bar, and a thrilling rainbow light show at the Ocean Cay Lighthouse. Your day will be one of the best tropical experiences of your life. Tonight, once you are back on the ship, you participate in our exclusive invitation to the Travel Club's dance party. Your amazing cruise to celebrate the Florida AIDS Pride Cruise comes to an end on day 3. Enjoy a farewell breakfast and you can get off the ship as early as 7:30 a.m. By being on this trip, you have not only had fun, but also have helped so many Florida AIDS Walk beneficiaries. Secure your spot with just a $99 deposit for the interior, ocean view, balcony, and suites, or pay just $299 for the exclusive Yacht Club category. Flexible interest-free payment plans are available for just $49 per month. Protect your trip with travel insurance starting at $36, or choose cancel for any reason coverage starting at just $67. Book now at the Travel Club website and be part of this unforgettable journey. Celebrate pride, luxury, and making a difference. Don't miss this one-time only cruise in 2025.
My dear Vaughn, let's look at our week ahead. Me and Vaughn are so blessed that we work for nonprofit organizations that are always trying to be out in the community and that want to extend our hands to other people, you know what I mean? And learn from them and have them learn from us, etc. So Vaughn is always doing something. Always, all right? So this week for me, I'm going to be, excuse me, at one of your favorite places.
Yes.
The Eagle.
Of course. I was just there.
So I'm going to be there on March 8th from 3 to 5. From 5 to 7, 3 to 5. From 5 to 7, I'm going to be over there with Mr. Eagle himself, Razor.
Right.
He's a cutie.
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
Does he look great in that leather, though? It's like, it's just, you know, that's just sexy.
I know, like, I don't even like boys, and I kind of want him to, like, whip me or, like, you know.
Oh, careful. You know.
I might get what I want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're gonna do a trivia, and that's gonna be so much fun because I love the Eagle. The Eagle is so welcoming, and like, you know, I've said this before to you folks. You know, you think of a leather bar, right? Or you think of the Eagle because you've been to the Eagle in other states or whatever, and it's a leather bar, and everybody's all in leather, and you can't go, and they're not welcoming, and this, that, and the other, and that's so not the case at the Eagle.
It's not.
You see a little bit of everything in there. You see the leather mamas in there. You see our allies in there.
Absolutely.
You see a little bit of everything.
You do. It's a great. I mean, Chuck, you know, who I know is for years now has done a great job
Chuck
making
King.
sure that everybody's included in that bar. And,
Yes.
you know, if any of us are in there and you don't feel you're included, let us know.
Oh my God,
Right?
for sure. For sure. I love Chuck King. He's actually going to be on my show in a couple of weeks, so look out for
So
that.
do I
That's
get to
gonna be
join with
Eagle.
that? No.
All right? Right? Shit. Oh, I don't know if I even... Anyway, Chuck is amazing. I'll have to plan for that. Something else that I've got going on, also on Saturday, I'm going to be over at the pub with the Pet Project and the beautiful Miss Sue Marino. I love her. We're going to be doing our annually Toss for Paws, okay? Where we do the beanbag that you throw it into... You know what I'm talking about? You throw the beanbag into
Oh,
the...
what's that called? Oh my God. Cornhole.
Cornhole!
There we
Boom,
go.
bing, 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 bing,
Big
bing.
Midwest
White
thing, yeah.
smoke, a big white thing that people do. I learned about it down here in South Florida, and it is a lot of
Yeah,
fun,
right.
you
It
know?
is. It is.
So they do cornhole, and these folks, like, they're teams, and they go up against each other, and then somebody, you know, wins at the end, and they're serious about their
Yes.
cornhole. Like, you can't be playing around. Like, I
Right.
thought it was something that you played drunk,
No,
but
Yeah,
like, there are teams and they are legit. So, you know, all the money goes over to the Pet Project, which is just incredible. They help senior dogs. They help seniors with their dogs. They help people that can't take care of their dogs' vet bills. I mean, like, the Pet Project is just exceptional. So go meet me at the pub. We're going to be there at 3 p.m. on Saturday, having a great time. Maybe you can play, or you can donate, or you can buy a raffle ticket because they're giving away big screen TVs and all kinds of different baskets and everything. So make sure you come on out for that as well, because, you know, that's... In one day, I'm going to be with my leather daddies at Eagle and with the pups. Those are two of
There we
my
go.
favorite things. Like, you
But
don't...
real pups, not pups. but
Real pups and human pups.
Right.
So I'm going to have a great Saturday. You know, what are you going to be doing this week? Anything fun?
You know, I'm still recapping. As you know, I went to Philadelphia
Yes.
last week. I actually attended through AVAC. They had asked me to come out for the HIV Cure Academy.
Wow.
So I was one of a selected number of people that received a full scholarship to come out to this academy. And as much work as I've done in HIV, it was very interesting to take a different look at it. And that is on the cure side of things, which goes kind of a little different from how we're used to hearing about it on the treatment
On the
side
treatment
of HIV.
side.
So it was a way, part of their organization is much like Renews and us, they have a pillar, and that pillar is community.
Oh, I
So
love that.
part of that is bringing community members out, and we sat with all the scientists. We toured the labs. We learned how they take a virus from a petri dish into mice and then into primates, and just kind of learned about what's it going to take to get a cure for HIV overall. So it was mind blowing. The amount of I've heard some of this information going through biology and stuff like that, but to actually see how they're actually working it from so many different angles. And the idea was to get us community members to be able to come back to our communities and start talking about it. Let's start having that conversation. Not that they're looking at the cure is going to be out anytime real soon,
Yeah.
but it's a way for people to understand what it's going to take to do that. So
Like, realistically,
Right.
you know, and it also kind of helps us to manifest it, to
Right.
make it happen. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because, like, we're always so worried about, I mean, which is worry that you need to have, right? Know your status. And
Right.
if you know, if you are positive, get what you need, you
Right.
know, to live a fulfilled life. Okay.
Right.
Because again, we're not in the 80s. This is not a death sentence anymore.
No,
but
right.
what a beautiful thing to start looking at that aspect, right? From the cure aspect.
Right.
Like, that's so different
Right.
from your lens,
Right.
you know?
Because I've always said before my lifetime, I wanted to make sure that I saw the end of the HIV epidemic. So
Do you think you still will be?
I'm very hopeful that I
Good.
will. So whether it's a cure or whether it's no transmissions, I mean, look, Australia has 0 transmissions right now. They've done
Wow.
it. They've gotten
Wow.
no transmissions.
Wow. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
So it's a way of like, okay, how can we
Get to
really,
that point.
Right. And it's going to take conversation. So
Yes.
the idea is for me to come back, start working with them. I will be building presentations where I'll go to different organizations and start talking about, just to educate on what it's going to take at a community level perspective, not a scientific level.
Got it.
Because
Got it.
sometimes that can go over everybody's head.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Like sometimes people tune out when it
Right.
comes to scientific stuff because they don't understand it. You know, like when my wife is a psychiatric nurse practitioner, she'll say some stuff and I'll be like, no, tell me in Fay language.
Right.
I have no idea
Right.
what the hell you just said.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's important.
Right. It is. So if you guys want to know, let me know. I'll come talk to you.
Any fear with RFK being RFK and not believing in vaccines and all his horrible things that he has said about HIV in the past?
So it's really not that as much as they talked about, you know, of course, a lot of their funding comes from the NIH. $400 and some million a year all of a sudden put on hold.
Wow.
That doesn't mean they're stopping it, but they're reevaluating.
Yes.
So, you know, everything will start going on hold for different things.
Yeah.
But, so I think that it's just a matter of, you know, they do have private funding. Obviously, Bill and Melinda Gates gives for HIV research. And so it's but it was a mind-blowing experience. I was so happy to be part of it.
I love that.
And I'm really wanting to work forward on having people understand what that means and what it represents in our community.
Yes, so important, so important. Thank you, Von Biggs, for joining me in bed
Yes,
this Tuesday morning. I adore you. You know that.
I love you.
I
too.
love you, love you,
I
love you.
love you more.
I love you more. Make sure you follow Von Biggs on social media, okay? He's always got something going on and always representing Holy Cross to the fullest. If there is something that you might need in healthcare, right, Holy Cross has it for you. So make sure that you seek him out. And we'll be right back. So that's it. That's the FayWhat show. I hope you had fun. I had a blast.
I did too.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Von Biggs for joining me in bed. What a sweetheart, right? I adore that man. He's like my big, yummy, big bear brother. I just want to hug him. Just like go to sleep on
And
him.
you can.
And I can't. Like that. Also want to give a big special thank you to Tommy Morell for being in bed with me. 3T Fitness Lifestyle. Look him up. He is honestly amazing. You know, I'm really passionate about trying to connect the L and the G in our LGBTQ plus community. Gotta tell you, it's often hard for us girls, but if we believe we are one strong community, then we must support all the letters of our LGBT and Q+. We open every show with a nod to Mary Tyler Moore, and that girl's Marlo Thomas. This show is dedicated to a strong LGBTQ plus community. I just encourage you to be a little bit kinder, a little bit funnier, and embrace our tremendous diversity because it really is what makes us so damn strong. Until then, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets, Facebook, IG, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow FayWhat, subscribe to FayWhat. Until next Tuesday, world, at 9 a.m. live or anytime on demand. I'm your girl, FayWhat, and I'm #thatgirl. I wish you a week full of sunshine and rainbows. Please consider fostering or adopting a pet in need. Love you. Stay gay. See you next week.
Rainbows, gay boys, #that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl, the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, #that girl. Pride-filled, tea-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal?